Hey gamer, today we answer that age-old question that will continue to be asked until it's 2024. Is Apple Arcade worth it in 2023? And the quick answer, yes. But I'll get into the why in a minute. For those of you who don't know, Apple Arcade is Apple's premier subscription gaming service launched in 2019. You pay $4.99 a month or $50 a year, and you have access to download any and or all of the nearly 300 games in the growing Apple Arcade library. Note that I said download. This is not a streaming service. Once you download the individual games, you don't have to be connected to the internet to play them. You can play all the games on your iPhone or iPad, and you can play on the Mac or Apple TV if the game is mouse or controller supported. Let's get into some stats specific to 2023. In 2023, at the time of this recording, around 50 games have been released so far this year. Back in May, there was a huge drop of 20 games, but other than that, it's a pretty steady drip of one new game a week. So if we keep on this pace, we'll be at a little over 60 games for this year. The major perk of Apple Arcade to me is that the games are ad-free. I'd stopped playing mobile games for a while because I had just gotten tired of the ads or freemium games that lure you in with a free game, but then you'll soon hit a wall where you have to pay for upgrades with in-app purchases where you then ultimately have to pay to win. And nobody wins that way. Well, I guess the developers do. Anyway, Apple Arcade got rid of all that. No ads allowed. And if a game has been brought over from the App Store, most if not all of the DLC is now included with the game. Another plus is that the family sharing plan applies to Apple Arcade as well. So you can invite up to 5 other people to have access to the subscription, which automatically gives you a pool of people to play with. Now let's look at the game options, because who cares how many games are available if they're all crap, right? Here are Apple Arcade's game categories and how many games are in each category, and I was actually surprised by this. I thought the casual or puzzle categories would have the highest count, but the highest count actually goes to action games with 50 games, with puzzle in second with 37, followed by adventure games with 35 games. There's more variety than I thought, and it's not all shovelware either. There's lots of ported hits like Limbo, Octodad, and Stardew Valley. There are a lot of games with well-known IPs too, like Ninja Turtles, James Bond, and a bunch from Disney. While there's still room for quirky indies like Getting Over It. So let's compare this to other game services to see how it stacks up. And I know, there's going to be a lot of apple to oranges comparisons here. So let's take it all with a grain of salt, PlayStation Plus just hiked up the price of all their tiers, and their lowest tier Essentials is now $80 a year. With that, you get 2 or 3 games a month and online access. A lot of people have been complaining about the drop in quality of those free monthly games, so a lot of them are jumping ship, myself included. The Xbox Game Pass standard tier is currently $11 a month, and you have access to hundreds of games. It's one of the better services out there, with the only caveat being that you have to own an Xbox if you don't have a good gaming PC. The basic Nintendo Switch Online plan is only $4 a month, but that only gives you access to NES and Super NES games that are now a good 30 plus years old. The closest comparison is going to be Google Play Pass, which is just $5 a month and gives you access to nearly 1,000 games. You're not going to find any exclusives here, but they have the same perks with no ads. It just all comes down to what ecosystem that you're in. And now we have a new challenger. When Apple Arcade launched, it was touted as the Netflix for games, but now we actually have Netflix games. If you have a Netflix subscription already, you have access to the games, of which there are only around 50 games now, but there's some interesting Netflix IP exclusives in there, like a Queen's Gambit chess game or pixel art Stranger Things games. This is the one that I'm going to watch the most. They have the money to back it and to make it work, as long as they quit hiking up their subscriptions and getting hung up on sharing logins. So back to the beginning question. Is Apple Arcade worth it in 2023? Yes. Only with the disclaimer that it's worth it if you actually use it. I first had access to Apple Arcade when I signed up for Apple One. I was already using some of their other services, so getting one just made sense for me. And like I said, I'd pretty much quit mobile games, so when I got Apple Arcade and saw that they got rid of everything that I didn't like about mobile games, I started downloading everything. And I mean everything. I had pages and folders full of games that I never played. What I discovered was that I was basically subscribed to a backlog. As with a lot of people, I have hangups with making sure that I get the most out of my subscriptions and squeeze every ounce of content out of them so I don't feel like I'm being cheated. But I had so much to choose from that I had analysis paralysis with the ability to play anything that I played nothing. After a while, I just deleted all the games that I downloaded and made myself the policy to only keep 2 to 4 games on my phone at a time. Now I play Apple Arcade games all the time and I don't feel guilty about the ones that I passed on. And that's why I started this channel of reviewing Apple Arcade games, because there's a lot to choose from out there. Our time is limited, and just because we have access to something that's free, I'm doing air quotes here, doesn't mean that we should give it our time. Well, that's it for today. Be sure to like and subscribe. This channel's young and I really appreciate all of the support that I've been getting in these early days. If there's a game out there that you want to see a review on, let me know in the comments. See you next time.